I'm Briar Knoll, 25, and my hands buzz even when the machines are off. Austin heat hangs like a wet shirt in August, and my shop, Ghost Orchid, smells like green soap and citrus cleaner. People think tattooing is about steady hands. It's actually about steady heartbeats. I learned to breathe through the needle's purr, to ride the hum the way some people surf waves. It keeps me from forgetting the rough stuff, like how everyone with a ring light and a Pinterest board thinks art grows on trees. The morning, everything tilted. I was rinsing ink caps and watching the sun glaze South Congress like a sugar coat. My apprentice, Rafa, was stacking stencil paper and talking about a new food truck that serves birria grilled cheese. I was half listening, half scrolling, because my book was full but my brain never is. Ghost Orchid is my whole spine. It's 2 rooms and a hallway, with a skylight that makes dust look like galaxy confetti. My station faces the window, because I like to see the sky while I mark skin. The wall behind the counter is a collage Polaroids of healed work, little scraps of line work taped up like prayers. There's a set I keep framed over the register. 4 designs, all from a series I call Static Garden Florals that crackle like lightning, petals that fracture into geometric storms. They're mine the way a scar is yours. I pulled them out of the same place I pull breath. Rafa cussed softly. Yo, B. You seen this? I looked up. His phone screen was a brightness bomb. On it, a carousel of photos. Denim jackets, boots, silk scarves, runway pretty, street dirty. Every piece smacked with jagged florals exploding into prisms. My florals, my prisms. The caption read, New capsule from at Lyra Saint, the Static Garden Collection. My mouth went dry like I'd swallowed chalk. Lyra Saint. Celebrity stylist. Pop star sculptor. The woman who can turn a cereal box into a red carpet moment with 3 safety pins and a dream. Static Garden, Rafa said slowly, like you say a dead friend's name. Didn't you? I did, I said. I was already unlocking the framed set with trembling fingers. I had posted those sketches 6 months ago. Cryptic teasers on my feed with captions like, storm-chasing florals and grit blooms. Not full designs, just corners, edges, a hint. The full set never left my sketchbook. Except, once. The memory crawled up my spine. A DM in late spring from an account with a blue check, at Lyra Saint Studio. They wanted custom temporary tattoo sheets for a music video. A mood board attached, a deadline, an NDA that looked boilerplate. I said yes. Why wouldn't I? I drew 3 options, sent watermarked PDFs, and then waited. They ghosted after, with a polite, team, went another direction, from an assistant with too many exclamation points. I shrugged it off and went back to real skin. Now my designs strutted across a carousel with 2.1 million likes in 3 hours. Lyra, in the 3rd photo. Sunglasses like little knives, the jacket draped over her shoulder like a stolen heirloom. My chest did that hot thing, like stepping into sun after an over-air-conditioned store. I hated that I still admired the styling. I hated that the jacket looked incredible. I hated that they flattened my line work into a pattern and called it a capsule. Maybe it's coincidence, Rafa offered, weak as decaf coffee. The name, the geometry, the petal cut, I said. I pulled my sketchbook from the drawer. The pages whispered like secrets. There they were. The exact angles, the weighted line that thickened on the right of each petal, the negative space lightning through the leaves. My thumb found the date on the corner, April 7. I always date my pages. Habit. Evidence. Okay, Rafa said softly. Then we go nuclear. He meant what I knew I had to do. Austin is small, the internet smaller, and I had receipts. My laptop booted like it knew it was about to be a weapon. I opened the time-lapse folder. Every design I make starts with a record iPhone on a clamp, screen mirroring to my iPad. Procreate's time-lapse ticking like a metronome. It was an ego check at first, then a teaching tool. Now, it was a lifeline. I watched as my own hands bloomed ink from blank space. Petal, fracture, prism, petal. The exact loop of the jacket's back panel, pulled straight from my brain months before a capsule ever dropped. I let out a laugh that wasn't a laugh. I don't want drama, I said. My voice sounded far away. I want credit. And your bag, Rafa added. I met his eyes. And my bag, I said. Outside, a couple clacked by in cowboy boots. Inside, my blood was drums. I started stitching the time lapses together, adding date stamps, cutting with clean smash cuts so no one could accuse me of Frankensteining. I added a screen capture of the NDA email, blurred where it needed to be, bold where it didn't. I recorded a voiceover in one take, because the words were already beating against my teeth. Hi. I'm Briar Knoll, a tattoo artist in Austin. 6 months ago, Lyra Saint's studio reached out to commission designs for a project under NDA. They passed. Today, she launched a capsule called Static Garden, featuring patterns that match my original work. Here's my time-lapse from April 7. Here's the email thread. Decide for yourself. I wasn't shaking anymore. I was something else clear. Like the moments right before a tattoo hits skin and you know it'll be a good one. I exported. I opened TikTok. Then Instagram. Then YouTube. We go wide or we go home. My phone pinged with a new notification. A friend, Lenny, who works nights at a venue, had texted a selfie with a headline behind him on a green room TV. It read, Rising stylist Lyra Saint teases Austin pop-up for capsule drop tonight. My jaw clenched. Lyra was here. In my city, launching my work like it was hers in a pop-up 10 minutes from my shop. I could practically hear the champagne corks and the fake laughter. Let's go, Rafa said, already grabbing his keys, his eyes dark with the kind of loyalty you only ever get once. I looked at the export bar crawling across my screen, 70%. I imagined walking into that pop-up. I imagined my hand on the jacket hem, my thumb finding the thickened line on the petal curve that no sane designer would put there unless they knew exactly why I put it there. A thumbprint inside a thumbprint. The export chime dinged. I uploaded to TikTok first, fingers steady. Caption: time-lapse receipts. Number Static Garden, number artist credit, number Lyra Saint. I hit post. The screen flashed, and the video thunked into my grid. The views started doing that thing. The micro flicker, the dash count jump, 30, 400, 2,000, 10,000. Comments bloomed like weeds. Girl, get her. Not the nerve to use the same name, too. I work in fashion. This is a mess. The second upload to Instagram Reels was slower. My heart didn't care. I drafted the YouTube title like it was a court filing. I think a celebrity stylist stole my designs. Here are my receipts. My phone rang. Unknown number. Austin area code. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Same number. Persistent. I felt the turning point, the way you feel. A storm pressure, shift ears popping, air gone metallic. This was bigger than an unfollow. Bigger than a shady DM. This was names, brands, money. Rafa hovered by the door. You don't have to go, he said, meaning the pop-up. You can let the internet eat. I pictured Lyra grinning into a camera, faking modesty while she described her process. My chest warmed. No, not warmed, steeled. I hit post on YouTube. Then I grabbed my jacket. A denim one, plain, thrifted, no designs. I didn't need to wear my work. I was my work. Outside, the Austin light felt like a dare. A scooter chirped past. A bus hissed. Somewhere a band tested drums. This is a music town. But today it was going to hear a different rhythm. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't the unknown number. It was an email notification. Subject line: Cease and desist unauthorized disclosure Lyra Saint Studio. I stopped on the sidewalk and opened it. The first line punched me. We demand you immediately remove defamatory and confidential content. I felt my mouth curl. Defamatory. Confidential. Pick a lane. Rafa peered over my shoulder. Are they serious? He breathed. They're counting on me scaring easy, I said. My pulse slowed, then steadied. I don't scare easy. Behind the legal threat was an attachment. I clicked. Another letter, this one longer, citing sections of the NDA, promising immediate legal action, and, in a perfect twist of irony, a claim that their designs were independently created months ago. I looked up at the sky. It was the kind of blue that makes you think of fresh start tattoos, cover-ups, second chances. Post the full time-lapse thread, Rafa said. I already did, I said softly. Now we go say hi. I put the phone in my pocket and started walking toward the pop-up. The email burned into my brain. The view count climbed in my pocket like a heartbeat. My hands felt empty without a machine, but the hum was in my bones. At the end of the block, a black SUV rolled past, windows tinted, the kind of car that ferries people who think they're untouchable. The back window rolled down a crack. A camera lens winked. Smile, Rafa muttered. I didn't. I lifted my chin. I kept walking. Because if they were going to come for my voice, they were going to hear it first. And if they were going to try to bury me under legalese, I was going to dig with ink. The pop-up's banner came into view. White letters on a black background. Static Garden, a Lyra Saint capsule. They used my title like a crown. I tasted metal. Then my phone buzzed so hard it stung. Another email had landed. This one wasn't a threat. It was an invite. From a verified magazine. Subject: Interview request your side of the Static Garden story. I stared at the screen. Then I looked up at the banner. 2 doors. 2 choices. The legal letter in one pocket, the invite in the other, and my time lapses spilling across the internet like wildfire. I reached for the handle of the pop-up door. It clicked open, and standing inside, backlit by rack lights and denim ghosts, was Lyra Saint herself, turning toward me with a smile that never reached her eyes. The AC inside the pop-up hit me like a slap. Perfume, denim dye, a whisper of champagne. Lyra Saint turned with that TV smile, and a small storm of cameras pivoted with her. Welcome, she said, voice sugar slick. Her sunglasses were gone, and her eyes were cooler than the room. Big night. Bigger than you planned, I said. My voice came out steady. I could feel Rafa hover just behind me, a lighthouse of presence. A PR girl in a black headset materialized like a stagehand. Hi, we're at capacity, lovelies, she bubbled. Press line outside, guests to the right. I'm press, I said, of my own story. Lyra's mouth twitched like a glitch. She clocked Rafa, then me, then my phone in my hand. I saw the calculation. She stepped closer. Briar, right? She said softly, as if we were in a library. I saw your video. Very brave. Brave felt like a word you give a toddler who draws on the wall. I saw your capsule, I said. Very mine. The PR girl's grin flickered. Lyra angled her body so cameras behind her got cheekbones, not confrontation. We were 2 actors on a stage, trying to share a spotlight that wasn't built for sharing. Let me get you a drink, she said. Private room, quick chat. I don't want you to feel unheard. The word unheard pressed a button in my ribs. I had spent years turning noise into lines, silence into skin. I'm good, I said. We can talk here. Her eyes sharpened. Or, we can talk like adults, she said, quieter. Up to you. On cue, a bouncer the size of a double door appeared by my elbow. Not touching, but there. 2 inches from a legal problem. Rafa stepped forward. I'll be 2 feet from the door, he told me. If you need me, yell. I hate that I nodded. I hate that I followed Lyra through a curtain into a tiny space that smelled like steamed clothes and fear. But sometimes, the fastest way to the truth is through the pretty lie. Inside, a garment rack leaned like exhausted bamboo. A folding table, bottled water, a plant that had given up. Lyra perched on a stool like a bird of prey. She set her smile down like a purse. First, she said, you put yourself in serious legal danger tonight. I put a timeline next to a pattern, I said. If facts are dangerous, that's not on me. She exhaled through her nose. You signed an NDA with my studio. You disclosed it. You accused me of theft. You asked for a commission, I said. You ghosted. Now you're selling my line work on silk. Her face did something odd, almost pity. Briar, she said, do you know how often I get accosted by small creators yelling theft? Do you know how many ideas live in the culture? Florals, geometry, lightning? You think you invented petals? My fingers curled around my phone so hard my case creaked. I think I invented these petals, I said. And I have the tape. She tilted her head. Do you have a trademark for Static Garden? She asked, faux curious. Did you register your designs? Heat climbed my neck. I had receipts, dates, time-lapse proof. They had money, trademarks, a legal team with matching suits. Does the law rely on paperwork or reality? I asked. Because reality is in my videos. Reality is what trends, she said, too quickly. For a split second, the mask slipped. Not a stylist, but a strategist. She slid a thin manila folder across the table. My name on a sticker, Briar Knoll. Here, she said. Let's spare ourselves months of mess. I didn't touch it. What is that? A collaboration agreement, she said. We backdate a consultancy. You get a fee and a credit line on press moving forward. We both post something nice. No more defamatory content. The words spiked the room. There it was, the Hush Money song, remixed for 2025. How much? I asked. Not because I'd take it, but because I wanted to hear the number they attached to my bones. 25, she said. Plus product, plus exposure. I laughed. It came out like a bark. Exposure is what you die of in a blizzard, I said. I need heat. Her mouth flattened. Then we do it the hard way, she said. We file DMCA takedowns on your videos for violating our intellectual property and the NDA. We make calls. The platforms are skittish. You'll be shadow banned by midnight. Indicated prava cost for major. They will base than made one. And first for man. And waste are nigh. My phone buzzed like it heard its name. A banner bloomed across the top. Your video has been removed for violating privacy policy. TikTok. My stomach dropped like an elevator. Another ping. Instagram. Reel removed for intellectual property violation. I swallowed. She watched my face like a blood pressure cuff. You think I'm bluffing? She asked. This is grown-up business. I looked at her and saw, for the first time, the machinery behind the glitter. Stylists with pins in their mouths and knives in their emails. Teams who move faster than feelings. I hit record on voice memos and set my phone down casually. I'm not here to beg, I said. I'm here to warn you. She blinked, a tiny, involuntary flinch. I have more than time lapses, I said. I have the original layered files, metadata, shipping logs for the traced stencil paper. I mailed your studio for samples, the Slack messages from your assistant that forgot to delete a line asking to match Briar's edge weight. I was lying about one of those. I didn't have Slack messages, but I wanted to see which nerve twitched. Her nostrils flared. The room seemed to dip. Walk away, she said. Post a clarification. Say you overreacted. I'll give you a real collab on the next drop. A bigger fee. I want my name on this one, I said. And I want you to donate a chunk to a fund for tattoo artists who get ripped off by fashion houses. We'll set it up with a lawyer. And you'll apologize. She stared at me like I'd asked her to lick the floor. Who do you think you are? She whispered. I thought about Ghost Orchid's skylight, the dust galaxies, the hum in my bones. I'm the woman who kept receipts, I said. And the internet likes me better than you tonight. The curtain rattled. The PR girl slipped in, pale. Lyra, quick heads up, she chirped. Panic under the chirp. Press outside is asking about plagiarism. A local magazine is here, Nova Park? She says she has an interview with Briar. Lyra's head snapped to me. Did you set that up? She asked. I didn't even have to, I said. She found me. Somewhere outside, the bass of a playlist thumped like a heartbeat. I imagined my videos being yanked from one platform and catching fire on another. Whack-a-mole with truth. Final offer, Lyra said, voice iced. You sign this, she tapped the manila folder, or you will spend the next year paying your rent with GoFundMe links while I do 4 covers and a fragrance. I picked up the folder. I didn't open it. I held it like you hold a candle when you already smell smoke. I'm taking this, I said. Not because I agree. Because I want my lawyer to laugh at it. Go. Her composure cracked. That's our property, she snapped. Leave it. I slid it under my arm like a book from a library I'd already paid for with overdue fines. I'll bring it back with red ink, I said. She stood. For a second, I could see exactly how she built her world, one perfect angle at a time, one perfectly denied truth at a time. Then the mask dropped back into place. Get out, she said. I turned. pulled back the curtain. The room outside had gone brighter, like a storm had lifted. But the pressure in my ears said otherwise. People watched me like I was carrying a bomb. Rafa appeared instantly. His eyes searched my face, reading the lines like a map. "You good?" he asked. "Define good," I said. TikTok and Insta took the videos down. He swore. "We'll go harder on YouTube," he said. "And Twitter, sorry, X, whatever. Reddit. Your Discord." I blinked. "My what?" He grinned quickly. "Made one an hour ago. Artists are joining." "People are mad, Briar." The bouncer moved like he'd been wound up. "Ma'am," he said. "Time to go." He wasn't rough, but the air around him felt like closed doors. I lifted my chin. "Cool," I said. We were leaving. Outside, the Austin night had thickened. A small crowd had gathered with phones out, faces lit like campfires. Someone clapped when I appeared. Somebody else booed at the pop-up. A woman with a notepad and black bob cut a line through the cell lights. "Briar?" she asked. "Nova Park Threaded Magazine. 2 minutes?" "Walk with me," I said. "We've got a lot." We crossed the street to the curb. The banner behind us, a horror movie title. Nova hit record. Rafa stood sentry with his best "you better not" energy. "Start with the NDA," Nova said. "Then the designs. We'll get timestamps on everything." Lyra offered me a hush collab, I said. "For 25. Nova's eyebrows shot up. 25? 100? She asked. 1,000, I said. Plus product. Plus exposure. She looked like she'd bitten into a lemon. "This will not age well for them," she muttered, mostly to herself. My phone buzzed again. Not a takedown this time. A DM from a blue check I didn't recognize. "At Jude Castillo Law. Saw your videos before they vanished. I'm an IP attorney in Austin. Pro bono consult tonight if you need it. Don't sign anything." I showed Rafa. He whistled. "Universe is sending the right people," he said. Somewhere behind us, the pop-up door swung open and a photographer stumbled out, flashes firing. Lyra stepped into the doorway like a queen on a paper throne. She lifted her chin and smiled at the cameras like she hadn't just tried to buy my silence. Nova leaned in. "Last question for now," she said. "What's your next move?" I looked at the denim on the racks, the fake garden stealing light. I looked at my phone, at the attorney's message. I looked at the people with their cameras and their outrage and their weird, beautiful belief that the internet could be a jury. "I make a longer video," I said. "I post the full time lapses on YouTube with context and metadata. I stream. I invite other artists to tell their stories. I call a lawyer. And I design something new while they scramble to bury the old." Nova nodded, scribbling. "Good," she said. "Because they just escalated." "What do you mean?" I asked. She turned her notepad to show me a push alert on her phone. A press release from Lyra's PR firm, time-stamped 2 minutes ago. "Celebrity stylist Lyra Saint responds to defamatory claims by unknown tattooist." Unknown tattooist. They had flatter words than thief. My skin went cold, then hot. A siren somewhere wailed like a kettle. Before I could answer, my YouTube app pinged. A red banner. "Your video is being reviewed for alleged copyright infringement." I stared. Rafa stared. Nova stared. "Can they do that?" Rafa breathed. "Sure," I said, voice flat. "If you have money and a trigger finger." I opened my camera, flipped to front-facing, hit live. "Hey, Internet," I said, looking into my own eyes. "They're trying to take this down everywhere, so let's talk in real time." The viewer count ticked from 12 to 300 to 1, 4K like it was falling up a staircase. Comments streamed like confetti. And that's when a black sedan cracked my peripheral, rolling to the curb like an omen. A man in an immaculate suit stepped out, a stack of folders in his arm. He didn't look at Lyra. He looked at me. "Briar Knoll?" he asked, voice carrying over the hum. My throat tightened. "Yes." He held out an envelope thick as a Bible. "Consider yourself served," he said. "Lyra Saint Studio v. Briar Knoll." The crowd gasped like we'd rehearsed it. My live chat exploded into fire emojis and "lawyer up" and "don't touch it." I took the envelope. It was heavy, like a promise. I looked at the camera, then at Rafa, then at Nova. "Okay," I said. New plan. The envelope sat on my workbench like a live wire. It was thick edges, sharp, corners perfect, heavy with the kind of paper that smells like money and menace. I hadn't even opened it yet. Rafa paced behind me, his sneakers squeaking on the concrete floor. "B, we need to look at that," he said. "I know," I said. "I'm just giving it a minute so it doesn't explode." Outside Ghost Orchid, the Austin night buzzed scooters, laughter, the distant wail of a blues guitar from a bar down the block. Inside, it was just me, Rafa, and the steady hum of my nervous system, trying to make peace with adrenaline. Finally, I slid my finger under the seal. Cease and desist. Defamation. Breach of contract. Damages. In excess of $250,000. I let out a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. It came from somewhere between disbelief and fury. 250 grand? Rafa said, leaning over my shoulder. For telling the truth? For telling the wrong truth, I said. The kind that hurts their PR timeline. I dropped the pages and rubbed my temples. They weren't bluffing anymore. The envelope came from a major firm, one of those with a name that sounds like it should be engraved on marble. Shoreman, Klein, and Duval. They'd cited every clause in that NDA like it was scripture. My full legal name, birth date, and the signature I'd scrawled months ago when I thought I was signing a step into the big leagues. The irony burned. "Call that lawyer," Rafa said. "Jude Castillo?" "Yeah," I said. "Text him first. It's almost midnight." He did. Thumbs flying. Meanwhile, I opened my laptop. The YouTube live from earlier had hit 800K views in 5 hours. Hashtags were trending. Number static garden scandal, number credit Briar, number art theft exposed. Someone had even clipped my line about exposure. Exposure is what you die of in a blizzard, and turned it into a meme. The comments were wild. Lawyer TikTok is on your side. We're watching this case like it's a true crime series. Lyra Saint equals Lyra Sin. The internet had picked a side, but I knew how fast that could flip. "Jude's awake," Rafa said, reading his phone. "He said he can meet us tonight. His office is over on West 6th. I exhaled. "Then, we go now." Jude Castillo looked exactly like I hoped a lawyer named Jude Castillo would. Late 30s, sharp suit, sleeves rolled up, eyes that said he'd seen too many NDAs weaponized against artists. His office was minimalist. One plant, one big desk, one framed quote on the wall that read, "Truth needs no permission." He slid the papers across the desk, scanning fast. "Well," he said, leaning back, "this is aggressive." "That's one word," I said. "They're claiming your video and social posts caused irreparable harm to their client's reputation," he continued. "Classic intimidation tactic." "So what do we do?" Rafa asked. Jude smiled faintly. "We respond. But first, Briar, did you keep all your original files?" "Yes. Procreate files, timestamps, metadata, everything, even the emails." "Perfect. That's your armor." He tapped a few keys, opening a legal template on his laptop. "We'll draft a response," he said. "Counter notice the takedowns, claim ownership under fair use and authorship. And we'll hit them with a preliminary injunction threat if they keep removing your content." "Can we actually win this?" I asked. He looked up at me, serious now. "Yes," he said, "if you don't flinch." That last part sat heavy in the air. The next morning, I woke to chaos. My phone had nearly overheated from notifications. Every platform had gone nuclear overnight. Number Briar Knoll was trending at number 3 inches the US, and someone had leaked a snippet of Lyra Saint's PR call, an audio clip where she called me a wannabe tattoo influencer with no originality. The internet didn't like that. They dug. They found screenshots of my old designs posted months before Lyra's capsule. They found that her so-called studio artist had followed me on Instagram weeks before my commission email. They built a timeline, a case, a movement. Suddenly, I wasn't just a tattoo artist in Austin, I was a headline. Small artist versus fashion giant. The static garden scandal. Lyra Saint accused of art theft, designer denies allegations. TikTok creator proves design theft with time-lapse receipts. Rafa shoved his phone in my face. "You're viral on Reddit. People are editing Wikipedia pages, bro. I blinked. Of what? Of her? They added, alleged art thief to her bio. It's chaos. For a second, I smiled. Then I felt it. That pang. That weight. Because internet fame is a weapon you can't control. I scrolled my DMs, hundreds of messages from artists sharing their own stories. Photos of paintings, embroidery, sticker designs, all stolen, all forgotten. It wasn't just about me anymore. Rafa, I said, standing. We're starting something. He looked up. What? A network, a support fund. Artists who've been ripped off by big brands will crowdsource, pool money, find legal help. Like an artist's defense league? Exactly, I said. We call it Inkwrite. Rafa grinned. That's hard. By evening, the first Inkwrite Discord server was live. We had 2,000 members by midnight. By the next morning, 10,000. Artists, designers, illustrators, tattooists, all with screenshots and stories. Jude helped me file an official business registration and start a GoFundMe for legal support. It exploded $120,000 in 48 hours, and just as the tide started turning fully in my favor, Lyra Saint went live. Her face filled my screen, perfectly lit, perfectly rehearsed. Hi everyone, she began, her voice calm, remorseful in a PR kind of way. I want to address the misunderstanding around my Static Garden collection. My team and I were inspired by various sources, including public art, social media, and digital creators. I did not personally design the prints, but I understand the confusion. I've reached out privately to Miss Knoll to resolve this matter. I hit pause. Private reach out? I muttered. She sent me a lawsuit. Rafa threw a pillow at the TV. She's rewriting history live. The comment section under her video was split. She's lying. Give Briar her credit. This feels fake. And then, my name trended again. But this time, alongside it was a new hashtag. Number Team Lyra. The pushback had started. Fake accounts flooding my comments. Accusations that I was clout chasing. That I'd baited Lyra for exposure. That I'd faked my time-lapse metadata. The pendulum had swung. My stomach twisted. They're turning it, I whispered. Let them try, Rafa said. You've got truth. They've got PR interns. But I could feel the fatigue creeping in the endless refresh cycle, the legal dread, the doubt that maybe, just maybe, none of this would matter if they outlasted me. The next day, Jude called. Briar, you're going to want to see this, he said. Lyra Saint just filed for a temporary restraining order. She's trying to stop you from speaking publicly about the case until trial. I blinked. She's trying to silence me officially? Yes, he said. But there's more. He hesitated. She's claiming your time-lapse files were doctored after the fact. My throat went dry. I know, he said. But she's bringing in a digital forensics expert. Rafa slammed his hand on the table. That's low. Jude's voice dropped. You'll need to testify to prove authorship. And I'll need your original iPad. I swallowed hard. That iPad held everything. All my art. All my work. My sketches, doodles, dreams. But if this was war, it was time to hand over my weapon. Come get it, I said. That night I sat alone in the shop, sketching to calm the noise. Lines became petals, petals became storms. A new design began to form, a phoenix made of ink and broken glass. I called it Static Garden 2. It wasn't revenge. It was resurrection. When I looked up, the city lights outside flickered like applause I couldn't hear. My phone buzzed. A DM. From a verified account. Not Lyra. Not a lawyer. A famous musician I'd tattooed once in LA. Saw what's happening. Want to help. I've got a stage and a spotlight. Come tell your story live. My pulse kicked. Because this wasn't just about one stolen design anymore. It was about every artist who'd ever been told they should be grateful to be seen. I opened the message. Typed. I'm in. Hit send. The next chapter wasn't going to happen online. It was going to happen under stage lights. And Lyra Saint wasn't ready for that kind of truth. When you go viral, people think it's like flying. It's not. It's more like falling with a spotlight. By the time the sun broke through the haze over Austin, my inbox looked like a battlefield. Brands, podcasts, journalists, morning shows, everybody wanted a piece of the tattoo artist who took on fashion. But only one message mattered. The one from Arden Vale. Yeah, that Arden Vale, Grammy-winning singer, alt-pop icon, voice like honey dipped in whiskey. You tell your story at my Austin show this Saturday. We'll live stream it. No edits. No PR filters. You in? I'd tattooed Arden 3 years ago, an intricate serpent that twisted around her wrist, blooming into wildflowers. She'd tipped like royalty, and said, "You've got stories in your hands, Briar. Don't let anyone steal 'em." Guess she remembered. Jude was less thrilled. He paced my shop, tie loosened, legal pad full of caution. "You realize this could violate the gag motion Lyra's team is pushing for," he said. "They haven't won it yet," I countered. "They will try harder if you go on stage in front of millions." I shrugged. "Good. Let everyone watch when they do," he sighed. "You're stubborn, persistent," I corrected. "Tattoo artists don't stop when it hurts." He cracked a reluctant grin. "Fine. But if you're going live, we prepare. I'll draft a statement that protects you legally, facts only. No speculation." Rafa leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Facts hit harder than any PR spin." "Yeah," Jude said, scribbling. "But let's make sure those facts don't land her in contempt of court." That night, I barely slept. I kept picturing Lyra's face, the perfect gloss, the measured lies. And underneath, that flicker of panic when I refused to fold. They were still trying to silence me. TikTok had reinstated one of my videos after appeal, but YouTube kept mine under review. And on Instagram, half my reach was throttled, shadow-banned into digital purgatory. It didn't matter, because Saturday wasn't a screen, it was a stage. Saturday came wrapped in adrenaline and stage lights. The venue was packed, 10,000 people, easy. Austin's skyline pulsed outside like a heartbeat in glass. Arden met me backstage, all confidence and eyeliner. "Ready to light a fire?" she asked. "I've been struck already," I said. "Now I burn." She laughed. "You'll do great." She took my hand, squeezed once firm, grounding. "Tell the truth. The internet will handle the rest." When she called me out mid-show, the crowd roared. "Tonight," she said into the mic, "I want to talk about art theft and what happens when a small creator gets trampled by someone with power." So, I invited the woman who's standing up for all of us. "Briar Knoll, come on out." The stage light hit like lightning. My throat tightened, but my spine didn't. The crowd quieted when I reached the mic. "I'm not here to start a war," I began. "I'm here because my art was stolen, and instead of hiding, I decided to show my receipts." They cheered. I went on, pacing slowly, my voice steady. 6 months ago, a celebrity stylist studio reached out about a commission. I sent previews just enough to show my style. They ghosted. Then I saw my designs on jackets, scarves, and runways without my name. When I spoke up, they sent lawyers. They tried to erase my videos. They even filed a lawsuit. Gasps rippled through the audience. "So, tonight," I said, "I'm telling you what they didn't want me to say. Artists deserve credit. Creativity is currency. And when the powerful steal from us, we don't go quiet, we go viral." The crowd erupted. It wasn't just noise, it was belief, roaring back at me. Arden stepped beside me, wrapped an arm around my shoulders. "You heard the woman," she said into the mic. "Give credit where it's due." After the show, backstage buzzed like a hive. Journalists, bloggers, fellow musicians all swarming. Someone live-streamed the moment I stepped off stage. The clip hit 1 million views before I even wiped the sweat from my palms. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I knew that area code. I answered. "Hello, Lyra." There was a long pause. Then, "Congratulations on your performance." Her voice was smooth, but the edges had cracks. "Didn't realize you were watching," I said. "Oh, I wasn't," she said. "My lawyers were." I smiled without meaning to. "Good. Saves me postage." She exhaled. "You don't know what you're doing, Briar. You're building a mob, and mobs don't last. They'll move on to someone else next week, and you'll still be the girl who cried theft." Her tone shifted softer, almost pleading. Let it go. Take the settlement. You can't win this in court. Maybe not, I said, but I already won the internet. She laughed once short, bitter. Fame isn't justice. No, I said, but it's light, and light burns lies. Click. The line went dead. When I turned around, Rafa was watching me from across the green room. His phone screen glowed. You might want to see this. He handed it over. On it, breaking news from Threaded magazine. Exclusive. Leaked emails show Lyra Saint's team used unauthorized artwork in Static Garden launch. Attached were screenshots, internal studio emails, subject lines that said things like, use Briar's version, it feels raw, and delete old DMs. Holy, I whispered. Rafa grinned. Nova came through. Nova Park, the journalist who'd interviewed me outside the pop-up, had gotten the receipts. Actual receipts. Jude's going to freak, Rafa said. Freak happy. By morning, the internet had turned. Lyra Saint deactivated comments. Her publicist resigned. Fashion blogs pulled coverage of her capsule. The tide had shifted again this time. It wasn't swinging back. Arden's livestream had hit 10 million views. Number Inkwright trended worldwide. Artists everywhere were posting their own stories under the tag number My Static Garden. And me? I was sitting on the roof of Ghost Orchid, sketchbook in hand, the Austin sunrise bleeding into the pages. Jude called. They folded, he said. She's offering to settle. Full acknowledgement, public apology, donation to Inkwright. I closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to scream, part of me wanted to cry. Mostly, I wanted coffee. What's the catch? I asked. She wants you to sign a non-disparagement clause. No more public commentary about her or the brand. Basically, shut up forever? Basically. The wind carried the smell of tacos from the street below. No, I said. No more silence clauses. Not for me. Not for any artist again. Jude chuckled softly. I figured you'd say that. Then write her a counter, I said. We settle on my terms. And those are? She admits what she did, on record, and the apology goes live. No NDAs, no gag orders, no filters. Truth only. He was quiet for a second. Then, I'll make it happen. 2 days later, Lyra Saint went live on her verified account. Her makeup was flawless. Her voice trembled, just slightly. I want to publicly apologize to Briar Knoll, she said. My team and I used her designs without permission. We failed to credit her and attempted to suppress her voice. I was wrong. I watched from the shop, Rafa beside me, Jude on speaker. Lyra continued, her tone softer now. I've learned that protecting creative voices matters more than protecting reputations. Briar's courage changed me, and I hope this serves as a reminder to every brand and artist credit isn't optional. It's respect. Rafa let out a low whistle. Damn, that's global TV energy. She rehearsed that, I said. Yeah, he grinned, but she still said it. The apology went viral. Every outlet picked it up, and for the first time in months, the noise around me softened into something that sounded like peace. Ghost Orchid filled again, booked out for weeks. My DMs turned from hate to hope. And Inkwright? It became a movement. A legal fund. A community. One night, I stayed late at the shop. The machines were quiet. The air smelled like ink and lemon cleaner. On the wall above my station, I hung a framed print of my new design. A phoenix, rising from shattered glass, lightning cracking through the wings. Below it, in small lettering, Static Garden 2. For every artist who fought back. I turned off the lights, watched the glow from the street filter through the window, painting the design in gold. That's the thing about revenge. If you do it right, it doesn't destroy you, it rebirths you. And me? I wasn't just ink and skin anymore. I was proof that art could bite back. You know that weird calm that comes after a storm? When everything's still wet, still wrecked, but the air smells cleaner than it ever did before? That's how it felt after Lyra's apology went live. I wasn't naive enough to think it was over. But it was different. Ghost Orchid had never been busier. People were flying in from New York, Seattle, even Toronto, to get tattooed by the artist who fought back. Some came for solidarity. Some came because they loved my work. A few came because they wanted to wear a piece of the story. I never turned that down. Because every tattoo now felt like planting truth under skin. One afternoon, Jude stopped by with iced coffees and an envelope. "Before you freak out," he said, "it's good news." I arched an eyebrow. "You said that last time and I got sued." He smirked. "Different vibe. Open it." Inside was a check 5 zeros long. "The settlement?" I asked, blinking. "Part of it," he said. "Lyra donated 50 grand to Inkwright as promised. The rest's yours, compensation for usage rights." "Usage rights," I repeated slowly. "That's what they call stealing when they lose?" He chuckled. "Pretty much." I set the check down, staring at the paper. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like something bigger, like responsibility. "What if," I said, "we use it to make Inkwright real? Like nonprofit status, legit legal backing, education grants, maybe even small artist insurance?" Rafa clapped his hands once. "Yes, turn the W into a movement." Jude nodded. "I'll handle incorporation, you handle inspiration." That night, I designed a new logo, a lightning bolt blooming into petals. Inkwright. Protect the creators. We launched the new site at midnight. By sunrise, 30,000 members had joined. Artists were sharing their stories. Designers were donating proceeds. Even law students started offering free consultation hours. It wasn't revenge anymore. It was revolution. But peace never lasts long when people profit from chaos. A week later, Rafa burst into the shop mid-session, breathless. Someone leaked a rumor that Inkwright's just a front for donations, that you're cashing out." I froze, needle hovering over a rose outline. My client looked up, wide-eyed. "Pause for a sec," I said softly, wiping the skin clean. "Who's saying it?" "Anonymous accounts, threads and TikTok, screenshots of fake bank statements." I exhaled slowly. "They're trying to discredit me." Rafa nodded. "Probably someone from her old team. Maybe. Or maybe the internet had simply done what it does best, turn admiration into suspicion." Within hours, hashtags like #Inkwright scam started trending alongside #creditbriar. I posted receipts immediately, real statements, transparent donations, every dollar logged. But the damage was done. Lyra stayed silent. Her followers didn't. Some called me manipulative. Others accused me of milking the story. It stung. Not because they doubted me, but because it reminded me how fragile truth can be once it's online. That night, I sat on the shop floor, back against the counter, surrounded by silence and ghosts of applause. The fame, the validation, the movement, it had all started to feel heavy. Rafa sat beside me, cross-legged. "Hey," he said gently. "You did what most people only dream of. You changed the game." I stared at the flickering neon sign outside. "Then why does it feel like it's changing me?" He shrugged. "Maybe because you're not done." "What do you mean?" Lyra apologized. "Inkwright exists. But this," he gestured around us, "is still small. You wanted to prove yourself. Now prove the system wrong." He was right. Winning a battle isn't the same as fixing the war. I picked up my iPad, opened a blank canvas, and started sketching again. This time, not tattoos. Blueprints. An Inkwright legal clinic. A mobile art workshop. A documentary pitch. Something permanent. If they wanted to doubt me, fine. I'd give them proof that lived longer than hashtags. 2 days later, an email landed in my inbox. Subject: TEDx Austin. "We want you to speak." I smiled. "Looks like the system's ready for round 2. I stood backstage at the Paramount Theater, nerves thrumming like an ungrounded wire. The TEDx logo glowed red behind the curtain. In the audience, journalists, artists, and students waited. Somewhere out there, Rafa, Jude, and Nova sat together in the front row. I'd spent weeks rewriting the speech, cutting legalese, adding truth, stripping away everything performative. When my name was called, the applause felt different this time. Not wild, not viral, just human. "I used to think tattoos were forever," I began. "But turns out, stories last longer." I told them everything. The stolen designs, The lawsuit. The night I almost quit. The moment I realized revenge wasn't the opposite of healing, it was part of it. But what I really learned, I said, pacing slowly, is that we can't copyright integrity, you can't trademark honesty, and you definitely can't buy silence from someone who's already lost everything but their voice. The crowd was quiet. No flashes, no comments, no hashtags, just people listening. This isn't about me versus Lyra anymore, I continued. It's about the next artist who gets that too good to be true email. The next dreamer who signs an NDA without a lawyer. The next voice that shakes when it should roar. I paused, then smiled. And to every artist who's ever been told they should be grateful to be noticed, don't wait for permission. Make your own spotlight. The room rose in applause. It wasn't roaring, it was steady, like a heartbeat. Months passed, Ghost Orchid thrived. Inkwright grew into a national nonprofit with legal partners and mentors. Jude joined the board. Rafa managed community outreach. Nova produced a short film called Static Truth, documenting everything. Lyra Saint disappeared from headlines. She rebranded quietly. Started designing again. Credited artists this time. One day, an envelope arrived at the shop. No return address. Inside, a small square of fabric, one of her jackets. Handwritten note attached. You were right. Creation without credit is theft. Thank you for reminding me. L. I folded it carefully, set it in a drawer, not as forgiveness, but as proof. Sometimes customers ask if I regret it. The drama, the lawyers, the sleepless nights. I tell them no, because I got to keep my name and help others protect theirs. And because sometimes, revenge isn't fire, it's foundation. That evening, after my last client left, I closed the blinds and turned up the music. The hum of the machine filled the room, the same rhythm that had always been home. I dipped the needle, started a new tattoo on my own forearm. 3 words, small and clean, truth in ink. When it was done, I wiped the skin, smiled, and whispered, "Here's to the ones who draw lightning and don't flinch when it strikes." The shop light flickered once like applause, then held steady.